So first off, obviously I know your name, but what is your name and what was your most like recent coaching, I guess, like position?
Yeah, my name is James, but when I'm coaching, it's Coach James. People call me Said James. I answer to both. So, but yeah, man. Last where was I coaching? Oh yeah, so before the pandemic, I was a head instructor for the kids and the adults at UFC Gym Fullerton. I'm the current assistant instructor at Gracie Bar Anaheim Hills, and I'm the head instructor at my own gym. And
Dude,
it's called Walnut Jiu Jitsu Club, but I'm gonna change the name later in the future.
that's awesome, man. That's awesome. And it's so crazy, by the way. This is a side thing. This isn't on the paper. It's funny that because like you're at the Gracie Baja in Anaheim Hills. Isn't that like a
Yes, sir.
new gym? Because like I
No,
saw they've been there for a while.
yeah, the Anaheim Hill's been there for a while, but the Anaheim that's in West Anaheim, going towards Disneyland, I could be wrong, but yeah, they've been there for I want to say the last 8 years now. I
Okay,
could be
okay.
wrong.
Yeah, because it was funny. I left like a 10th planet thing and I had like my like hoodie on, and then I saw another dude with like his gi like pants
Mhm.
on, and I was like, "Where do you train?" And he's like Gracie Bar Anaheim Hills, and I was like, "Oh, okay." I didn't even because I lived there for a while. I didn't even know. So that's so awesome.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know.
yeah. I might know him, but I gotta see faces. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I forgot his name. I feel horrible about it. I think he gave me his number. He was a super nice guy. I mean, everyone in the
Okay, cool,
in that
cool, cool,
world is
cool.
super nice. But talk to me about like some of your accomplishments and how you got into jujitsu.
Yeah, so my accomplishments was that I'm a three-time gold medalist at the just mainly local tournaments like the Gracie Baja, CompNet, um, NABJJF, and one. Hmm. Oh yeah, two NABJJF featherweight champion and one Gracie Baja CompNet champion at the featherweight division. Four-time silver medalist at IBJJF, two of them actually, and two NABGF and one bronze medal finish.
Heck yes, I love that. I love it. What was your favorite like coaching moment or memory that you've had?
You know, favorite coaching memory. I would have to say my students placing gold. But you know what? It's not them placing gold. I mean, for me as a coach, I really the placement it doesn't really doesn't satisfy me, but the fact that they go out there and then they just step on the mats, because let's be real, stepping on the mats is the most terrifying experience to go through for some people. And if you could do that and just go all out and put your heart out on the line, to me that's a gold medal within itself. Because you don't because people don't have that they don't have that courage, they don't have the guts to to go out there, and it's tough. Like, don't get me wrong, like it's super tough, but like there's a reason why we do this. You know what I'm saying? So
Well, and it's so interesting that you say that because, it's worth saying that like it's a lot different to go to like a soccer game and you're sitting across from a guy that you're gonna, try to get the ball from. But this dude's gonna put you out. And the best types
yeah.
of dudes in this sport are the guys that gotta put you out. So I think
Mhm.
that that's a great way to put it is having that like respect for the people that go out there and compete and who are willing to put themselves in that like hostile environment. So
Absolutely.
it's martial arts, it's combat sports. It's
Hmm.
terrifying, man. I mean, even in
Absolutely.
training, sometimes like you see a big guy and like that's what I always did. And I see the big guy and I'd be like, he scares me. I just want to get that knocked out, get that out of the way, and then I'll feel great. So
Absolutely.
I love that you said that.
Thank you.
Um,
Thank
what,
you.
what was one of the most difficult moments that you've had coaching?
Oof. Well, it's not difficult. I wouldn't say I had a difficult moment coaching. I mean, I'm pretty sure I have, but that's just basically like just involving kids in the gym and like if they, have their, hygiene problems and but just dealing with small minor kid stuff. But as far as the coaching worst experience, I don't think I've had it yet, but I know, like, I mean, just like every coach in this world, I'm pretty sure I have. But I mean, I just want to say that coaching is the most selfless thing to do. But when you're competing, it's the most selfish thing to do. Because because when you're competing, you're doing it for your own self. But when you're coaching, you're spreading the art and for the next generation.
Yeah,
That's what my big perspective on coaching and
I dig that.
competing as well.
That's awesome, man. And
Sure.
ooh, one sec. There you go. But I think that's a great answer because I feel like there's like this stigma, like where you want to wait for like a difficult athlete or stuff like that. But I think at
Mhm.
least in our sports, I feel like I feel like it's super uncommon. Because I mean, at
Right.
least for me, like now I've been doing it for since 2018, about on and off. It's been hard during the pandemic, obviously.
Yeah.
Um, but it's like I haven't really met anyone at a jiu-jitsu gym that I haven't liked. Whereas in soccer, like every team I've been on, there's been one or two guys where I'm like, I don't like that guy, you know? So, and I guess that's maybe the style of martial arts. So I really dig it. Um,
Yes. Yes.
Here's a fun one. What potential role and impact can coaches have in young people's lives?
Oh, I think it had a great impact. For me, it's more about well, for me, to switch the roles, being a student. One thing I regret was that I didn't listen to my body. So because I was putting myself through hell in order to get to where I am today. So if to revert that back to being a coach, um I don't want the my students to make the same mistakes that I went through. I didn't listen to my body. I ate whatever the hell I wanted. Excuse my language, by the way. And just the fact that like I didn't speak up in order to get the help that I needed back then. I'm doing it now, but I wish I did it sooner in order to make that extra umph to the next level.
Yeah.
So back to being a coach, if I could tell like my younger students or even the guys that's going up in the ranks, I would tell them, hey, listen to your body. Like if you feel like the need to talk to me, whether it's your health. I mean, I ain't no medical doctor, I ain't no nurse, but at least I can help you out. I mean, maybe decrease the training. You know what I'm saying? And just like the fact that to instill the importance of recovery, sleep, nutrition, it could really benefit your jujitsu. You know what I'm saying? Or wherever sport you do, you know? And I think that if I could instill that now, I think it'll better their performance and their well-being as a whole.
Exactly, exactly.
Mhm.
And, especially with jujitsu, it's like, there's nothing more like I think, and I think you can agree with this if you don't like tell me, but it's like with martial arts, I feel like it's really hard to be fake with people, and that's what I like. So in a coaching aspect, that must be easier, right? Because like
Absolutely.
if
You
someone's like,
cannot sorry to cut you
no,
off,
no, you're
but
good.
yeah, within those four lines when you walk into the gym, you cannot put a mask on. Like meaning, well, not the coronavirus. Yeah, but within those four lines, you cannot lie. Like no matter what, no matter if you're like tapping out the all the guys in the gym, either way, one way or another, you're gonna be humbled, and for sure you're gonna expose. You're gonna be exposed. So with that said, it's best to it's 100% best just to be humble and just don't have any ego. I mean, all of us have just a little ego, but you just have to just suck it up and just keep going.
Exactly.
Because whining and getting upset or it's just not gonna help you. It's
Yeah.
just unnecessary stress, unnecessary overthinking. It could really be a detriment to your progress.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel that.
Hmm.
And it's like I remember, like especially at the UFC gym, and I always say this, that UFC gym was really, I thought it was very special. Um, there was this kid, I don't want to say his name because we're recording live, but he was like visually frightened all the time, and he'd always be like, "I'm freaked out about this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to box with this." 3 months later, the kid was a shark. he was a shark, you know, and it was like there was no mask. He wasn't fake, you know, he was not fake about any of it. And the people that pushed him forward were like you and the other coaches. So it's like it's really cool to see like I guess, you know, that impact, you know.
No, absolutely. I mean, it's like I said, people will see martial arts as like a, oh man, it looks a little too violent. Like they just don't see like the things behind the scenes, what
Yeah.
they're going through behind closed doors. And then once they start putting in the actual work in the gym, it makes them humble. Not just like, I'm not talking like sparring or whatever it is. And it starts to like that life lessons and it allows them to learn and grow, and when they become coaches one day, they can pass it on to the next, and then that's how we
Exactly.
all grow as individuals, and not just on but also off the mat, or
Exactly.
wherever or whatever sport you do.
And I think that's a great, you know, point. I have something else to pile onto it, but if I keep doing that, we're gonna be
No worries.
I'm gonna say it
It's
after I
okay.
say it. How's your style changed over time, by the way? Because I know that you were like before the pandemic, it was still kind of like a recent thing, like getting into coaching. But like
Mhm.
I know that you were able to do privates and stuff like that. Now you have like your own school, your assistant coaching. You had to have changed your style. It's like, you know, at this point, I bet. Like how have you?
My style of jiu-jitsu, right?
Or no, I mean your style of like coaching.
Oh, okay. Actually, to be honest with you, my coaching is definitely changed, but I must say, I'm glad you brought that up. When I'm dealing or coaching kids, my style changed a lot for sure. But when I'm coaching adults, that'll never change. Maybe I'm a lot more vocal than I already am, but definitely, like I would say, like my coaching style is always the same, but I'm definitely a lot more patient and I'm a lot more understanding of what they're going through. Because when you coach, it's not about me. It's about them. So I would make sure when I walk in through those doors, like to my garage or to Anaheim Hills, I make it clear the students first, myself second. Because, and of course, like when you coach, you see it's like double training in a sense. Because when you're trying to show these techniques and all these maneuvers, um you kind of like correct yourself, like, hey, like I'm missing this detail, I'm missing that detail, I could add that, I could add this, and just things like that makes the big picture pop, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, definitely, like, but as far as to answer your question about my coaching, definitely changed over time with kids, and I think it improved well with the adults as well.
Exactly, exactly. And I mean, it was so funny because I remember when you first started teaching at the UFC gym, I think
Hmm.
like the 3rd day of that week is when I like destroyed my hamstring, and then I
Hmm.
came back, and then I remember like like it wasn't different, but I know that the vibe was like everyone was like, okay, like he's legit, and I saw that like your at it was like it was your gym. You know, does that make sense? Like
Yeah, yeah.
before you were kind of like the new coach, like, all right, and then now it's like you were there, you know, people
Hmm.
looked up to you, you were the mentor, it was your gym, and it was such a cool like difference, you know. And like
Nah,
we all
thank
knew
you,
that
bro.
you were going to be there because you're such a nice approachable person, you know, that
Thank you, I
it
appreciate
it,
that.
it was, you know, you're a shoe in, obviously.
Thank you.
um
Thank
what kind of relationship do you try to create with your athletes, and why are relationships
you.
so important, I guess, in
Oh,
sport?
I love that question. It was so good. I had to ask you. Can you please ask that question again?
Absolutely. What kind of relationship do you try to create with your athletes, and why are relationships so important,
Oh,
generally?
I love it. Oh, I love it. Oh, I love it. Okay. So, okay, let's bring it down a notch a little bit. So, yeah, I think relationships are I can't tell you how important it is to make a relationship not just on but also off the mats. Because I don't want, well, when I'm, coaching, I don't want anyone to think that I'm there just to coach and then dip out and then collect a check. That's not me. If you're if you're my student, you're like my family. And of course, when I'm coaching, it may seem that like, oh, like I'm on you or things like that. It's because I care, because I want you to get better. And who knows, maybe we're talking jujitsu, I want you tapping me out because then that forces me to get better. I made you better, and then we both learn and grow at the same time. So we both win. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, as far as relationships goes, is super super important, and of course, develop the chemistry so that everything just works like clockwork. You know what I'm saying? Like I know he's not gonna do this. I know she's not gonna do that, and just things like that. It just really makes a big difference in making relationships grow, not just on but also off the mats as well. So
Exactly.
yeah, it's super super important for sure.
And the thing is, and this ties into my next question. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna ask the question, then I have something to like add to it because I have like an example of it. It says, "How do you motivate different kinds of athletes and personalities?" And the thing is, I felt this was a very fun question because, just context. Obviously, the UFC gym in like a big picture, it's like go, it's like it's great for beginners. It's great for new people to go to UFC gyms and learn how to do these arts from that.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
having a UFC gym go to competitions and do well is awesome. And I remember when you were
Absolutely.
coaching, that's how it worked. Like we went, they went to competitions and they kicked ass. And
Yeah,
like having
absolutely.
these people from UFC gyms, it's kind of like, like the black sheep of the competition, right? Like you'll have like people from 10th Planet, you have people from
Mm-hmm.
Gracie Barra, you'll have
Mm-hmm.
people from King's MMA. Then you have someone from the UFC gym, and you think, okay, well they're a fish in a pond with a bunch of sharks. And then you have these people like Melissa, who's a
Yeah.
shark, and she comes out with medals all the time. It's
Mm-hmm.
like that's amazing. So it's like, I'm gonna say the
Absolutely.
question again. How do you motivate different kinds of athletes and personalities? Obviously, you did a fantastic job of that, but I
Oh,
want to
thank
hear
you.
you say
Appreciate
it.
you. Well, I motivate. To be honest with you, it's about touching the right nerve at the right time. So what does that mean? I find one weak try to find one weakness in each and every single person's game, and I try to use that as a motivator to help them grow as individuals. So with that said, and not just like, I'm talking the physical or the technique wise, I I try to like be a not more of like a jerk, but like kind of like that military drill sergeant sort of way. I want to like I try to ask them, how bad do you want it? You know, how bad do you want to get better? I can't answer that. Only you. If you meet me halfway, then we can go to work. But when when we coach, I'm gonna put you through hell. Like
Yeah,
as like I said, I may sound like a jerk. I may may rub off the wrong way, but all I want is the best for not just my kids, also the adults as well. So yeah, like the I just try to find one thing to end their game, and then I try to make them grow, like try to make them progress in their journey.
exactly, exactly. And I mean, that's a great answer. And I mean, you do a great job at it. I mean, it's
Thank you, I appreciate
proven
that.
on, it's already proven. How do you choose? Okay, so this one I guess is like it's hard for a gym because you don't really have team captains. But I mean, obviously you have people lead the gym. For example, in the UFC gym, we'd have people lead warm-ups and stuff. So I guess the better way to ask this question would be, how do you choose choose team captains, and what roles do you see them playing in the team dynamics you try to create? So I guess gym leaders would be a good question with it. Were there really gym leaders at like at our gym or at your
I would
gyms? Or
say I wouldn't say there was a gym leader, but as far as me running the program, like not just me, you remember Chris?
yeah,
Uh,
Valencia.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I would say he was a leader for sure because he's been there a lot longer, and I like how he makes everyone better. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And for sure, like he's for me, I thought he was a silent assassin.
Oh yeah, he was. Yeah, he was,
Definitely,
man.
you know what I'm saying? I mean, they were all killers, but as far as like the most trustworthy person was there, it was Chris,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. And it's funny just to talk about Chris real quick. I remember like when I went to that gym first off, like I was 215 pounds, and I remember I didn't know what to expect. And the first like athlete I saw there was Chris. And I was like,
Mhm.
oh my God, that guy's terrifying. Oh my God. But he's the sweetest dude ever, and
Oh,
he will make you
absolutely.
better. He's
Shout out to
awesome, man.
Chris.
Yeah, shout out to Chris. I'm gonna send him.
Yeah.
How would you describe your leadership style?
My leadership style. That's a good question. My leadership style is based on example. So what do I mean by that? It's example and a mixture of like how should I say this? Hmm, that's a very good question. You know what? I take it back. I think it's just based on example. But the way the way I I spar, use technique, or like just like being on the mat in general. I just do it based on example. What do I mean by that? I'm giving it my all so they can give their all. You know what I'm saying? And but that's just with adults. With kids, I try to be like that voice. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, being the assistant instructor, that's my professor's job. But for me, it's just to be that voice when he's not there. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
No, it does. It does. It does.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it also, I think, and just to elaborate, and maybe, and if I'm wrong, tell me. Like in that situation, it's like making sure your students have the confidence to have confidence within you as well. So it's like in a
Absolutely.
situation, if there's like and it's like I see that. I don't know if you've seen this like growing in the sport, but it's like in at 10th Planet, for example, I definitely have like purple belts and like brown belts where I'll see them and I'll be like, yo, fool, and I didn't get this. And then they'll be like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and then they'll just like, kind of. So
Yeah.
is how it is?
Yeah, absolutely. It's just the fact that like the way how I carry myself when I coach, it dictates how they're gonna come to me. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like I said, I don't like but even with when I'm coaching, I don't want anyone to fear me. Like I don't want them to come be like and be hesitant. No, just come to me and we'll talk. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And even and I mean, we're not coaching. We're talking about coaching, but like even when I have my future kids, like someday, I don't want them to come have that fear or have that doubt or have that insecurity, like I can't talk to them.
Yeah.
No, like I want that open relationship, not just on and off the mats, and eventually when I become a father too. So, and it goes back to relationships, like just building that relationship, building that trust, building that camaraderie in order for us to get better and move forward.
Exactly. Yeah. Great answer. Great answer.
Thank you. Thank you.
Um, let me think. Okay. In what ways does your personality impact the way you coach, good or bad? And I think you already kind of answered this question.
Mm-hmm.
Which is like, I'm going to reiterate it. And if I'm wrong, tell me, or you want to add more sauce to it, tell me. But
Mm-hmm.
I would say that your personality, with how you said it, was you kind of come at it like a drill instructor, but you are, you're passionate about it. You lead by example. You tell them what works, and you kind of lead them into that direction. But you know how to work with it, or you know how to change your act based on the situation. Like you don't have to really be a drill instructor to Chris. You can just casually say, "Go run 7 miles," and the guy will do it. But then if you have someone that you have to motivate, you'll kind of change your style, right? Am I right
Yeah.
to say that?
Yeah. 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 No, that's true. But yeah, like just to add to that is but even before class, I'm just like everyone else. I'm loud. I try to be funny. And I try to like have them like a good mood. Like if I'm outgoing and if I see everyone having a bad day, it look if I gotta embarrass myself to make you laugh, that's a victory for me within itself.
Yeah.
But that's before class and after class, of course. But when we're in the gym, let's put in work.
Exactly.
But I recently, like even before I started working for UFC Gym in general, I definitely changed my approach to coaching kids and adults in general, being more passive aggressive instead of like, oh, don't do this, oh, do that, try this, try that. You know what I'm saying? Hey, let's add more to this. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, like as far as my personality, and of course bringing that vibe, that's
Yeah.
most important, and that vibe creates relationships within each other, and it creates a bond that'll never be broken. I mean, I'm
Exactly.
still cool with everyone from UFC gym too, so I made sure that I have a relationship or try to have a relationship with everybody.
Awesome. No, and I mean, obviously, like I said before, it's like everyone has nothing but everyone has nothing but great things to say about you. So, I see that in the way you coach and the way you carry yourself on the mats too, which is awesome. So this one's a great one because when I talk about you as a coach, the big thing I see is how you prepare. And I remember like the third day you were there, you already had like all these plans and you were putting into action, and the gym was listening, and you went through the program. So the question is, sorry, I'm ranting again. How do you
Not
go
so.
about preparing, planning, and organizing as a coach? And why do you think this is important? And this is something that I think that you're like if I had to say something that you were the guy of, it was like planning and preparing and getting ready
Yeah.
for, and you would tell that was the thing I liked about it is you knew everyone knew what you were planning too,
Hmm.
like that you were training, and so they were on the same page about it too.
Yeah.
So floor is yours. Like how do you go about that?
Yeah, so like as far as like game planning and coaching, I base it off of like the Gracie Barra curriculum and the UFC curriculum. So I kind of mix it up, but I don't do it based on that curriculum to the T.
Yeah,
Like I break it down into small increments, and then eventually I'll pick it up and add more difficulty as I go. You know what I'm saying? But we're still in that same position. Like if we're how should I say this? We're working on submissions from the closed guard. Okay, let's add a defense to that. Okay, let's add a back take from that. Okay, let's add a sweep off of that. So that way we could build the attacks off of just that one position and off that one technique alone. And
exactly.
not and with that, it comes a lot of like having them. I call it opening up the can of worms. So what does that mean? I'm opening up their game so they could see the possibilities of instead of like just sticking to one technique. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, my game plan just came off of that, and as far as preparing, and as far as it came to preparing, it was easy for me to go. And once I did that, I knew everyone was in line with me.
Yeah. And plus, also something I want to comment on, and it's something I appreciate. 10th Planet does this too. Is like you would have weeks for stuff. So you'd be like, okay, I'm gonna go over like the guillotine, and I'm gonna go over how to escape the guillotine, and I'm gonna
Right,
go
right,
over
right.
reverse, and like I think that would prepare me. Like I'd be driving and I'd be like, all right, like I'm gonna get choked today, or all right, I'm gonna learn how to get out of a choke today, that sort of thing. So I always thought you were like the master of planning. I always thought that was so awesome.
Thank
Um,
you.
why is it critical? This is a fun one. Why is it critical for coaches to consider age, skill level, and other environmental contexts?
Damn, that was good.
That's right.
Uh, can you just answer? Can you ask that one more time? Sorry.
Yeah. Why is it critical for coaches to consider age, skill level, and other environmental contexts?
Hmm. Well, I think one like is to just consider the age. That's a really good question.
And
Shoot.
just to add to it, I think a really good way to put it is sometimes like I'd go early to practice, or
Hmm.
training, and I would
Hmm.
watch like the kids train, and I would see how you guys handled like the kids training and how you would
Hmm.
teach them and how you go like at a kind of a different pace, and then we get in there and you guys would be like, "All right, assholes. All right, everyone get ready," So
Yeah.
it's that like stark difference which I appreciated, but it's like
Yeah.
that's what I noticed at least, with how you guys acted or treated the kids and taught the kids versus how you
Yes.
like big adults.
Yeah, yeah, I get you. But yeah, like it's very important for me to like, just to consider like go like consider like the type of coaching to like separate it from the kids and separate from the adults. Cuz like I said, we're all built differently. So
Yeah.
it's very important to adjust your coaching in order for that kid or that teenager or that adult or that old guy to get better. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So it's more of just like adjusting on the fly as you go. And I think that'll, you know, build different type of bond and relationship in a in a different unique way. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So with that said, yeah, it's very important to like adjust and to consider that age group because we all can't. Everyone takes things differently. Um, Maybe they can't take my coaching style, but I kind of change it in order for them to to get
Exactly.
better. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, like to just to answer that question, just to go along as a coach, it's just more of adjusting on the fly. It's not
Yeah.
easy, but it just if you want it as a coach, you want that for everybody, but in
Exactly.
their unique way.
Yeah, and like something that I think again, like this is something that you're good at is that like when I would see, we had a younger kid. I think he was like 16. God, I forgot his name, but he was a shark, dude. Oh my gosh, what was his name? I forgot his name, dude. I think he was like
Mm-hmm.
Manuel or something. It's been so long.
Been a
But it's
while.
like he was still new to it. And it's like I remember like you go to like me or Chris or Saul, and then you go to him, and it would be like a lot more like okay, like you knew how he learned because you knew who he was. Like you knew how his style was, and I always thought that that was a really great side
Yeah.
of you as a coach. Like that's I feel like that's a really hard part too. Is like I feel like a
Mm-hmm.
lot of coaches will have one style of coaching for everybody, but it's
Mm-hmm.
like you were a very individual person. Like you were able to be like, okay, like I see this guy, this is how he does it. I see this guy, this is how he does it, and I
Mm-hmm.
think that's really awesome. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Thank you.
Um, well, oh yeah. How do you feel? How do you? Oh, typo. How do you feel like? How do you make positive relationships with like parents, administrators, other coaches? Like, how does that work? I mean, obviously, for a guy like you, I feel like that's like a second nature.
Yeah. Yeah. Just being a coach was like a second nature to me already because I was already. I mean, not bragging. I was already outgoing. I was already like a positive individual. But yeah, just as far as like creating the vibe with other coaches, it's very important to me because like I said, we all need each other. Like
Yeah.
it takes a village in order to make. Was that quote again? Like we all need each other. You know what I'm saying? We
Yeah.
all like it takes a village to build one.
Yeah.
God, I hope that made sense. But anyway,
That makes sense. Yeah.
okay, good. So, but yeah, like I just think that like it's very important that is say if I was working at a UFC gym, we all need each other. That goes from front desk, that goes to management, that goes to ownership, and that goes to just the members and the us as a staff in general. And in order to make UFC Jill, in order to make UFC Fullerton pop,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So yeah, but for the way I brought everyone together was the fact that had the I brought that energy into the
Yeah.
gym, and that it kind of brought everyone out of their shell. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
And that's something I appreciated about you. And that's something that like you and also like Will both did a great job of is you guys your personalities were so infectious. People wanted to be around you. People wanted to talk to you. People wanted to learn with you. They wanted to work with you.
Right.
So I think that that's just such an awesome, like, I guess, aspect of like what you did,
Yeah. Thank you. I
again,
appreciate
second
that.
nature, dude, second nature. How can coaches influence athletes' lives outside of sports and encourage positive and pro-social behavior, as well as academic and professional success?
Yeah, so the best way they could do that is just to pretty much like pass on the knowledge of that the life lessons from sports or any martial art and instill that to their kid, their athletes and their kids possibly. So meaning to say like there's a quote in Gracie Barra. Um what was that one? Something sorry.
No, don't
But
worry, don't
yeah,
worry.
so like there's a quote in Gracie Barra saying that like be grateful of the things that you go through. They don't break you, let it make you. And then there's another saying, there is no such thing as winning and losing. It's either you win or you learn. So just those lessons alone, and then I take it, I learn it, and then when I see someone that's struggling or may have gone through the same thing as what I did, then that could help them grow as as a person and have them grow as an athlete, and they could pass it on down to their future kids and their future athletes when they get older.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very important for a coach to like instill those life lessons through sports and then pass it on to the next.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I dig that. I dig that.
thank you.
Um, how do you this is a fun one. How do you think you can create an inclusive and safe environment for all types of athletes, considering issues of race, gender, sexual orientation, religion, national origin, class, ability, and other markers of difference? Now, I think when I think of this answer, and I'm sorry if I'm sorry if this is like, sorry, I had like my mom had just updated me on something. Um,
It's all good.
but like, I'm sorry if I'm jumping on this before you do, but I'm just saying this is a little too easy for us because I feel like the biggest thing about a jujitsu gym is like a jujitsu gym is the only place where like cops train with like ex-cons, where like all like it's the most random set of people you will
Oh
ever
yeah.
meet,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
so I feel like it's like so natural for our setting versus like a
Hmm.
football team. But like,
Yeah.
what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that it's very important, like to to have say like a still safety and despite of race or religion, all the things that you mentioned is very important because because jujitsu is for everyone.
Yeah.
Like I don't care if you're an ex-con, a businessman, lawyer, doctor, dentist. Hell, I don't even care if you're a bartender
Yeah.
and and another different job. But yeah, like jiu-jitsu is a sport that brings everyone from all walks of life, that we're all as one. We're all human beings. Like we're not. I'm not better than you. You're and vice versa. I mean, I'm not better than anyone. We're all human beings. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? And the fact, and I give, and it's important for me as a coach to instill that, make sure everyone's safe, is by like, hey, you know what? Let's train hard, but hey, watch out for your partners. Take care of your partners. Be safe.
Yeah.
And if religion came into place, then of course, like I'll be more than happy to adjust them so that they can feel comfortable.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
And I think that all you guys did a great job of that too. I mean, and it's like whenever I talk to girls about jujitsu, they always kind of think like wrestling with a dude, like I don't know, that's uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
But then the girls that do it, it's like they're treated with the most utmost respect. I've never in my life, and I could say this like still to this day. I mean, it happens. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but at all the gyms I've been to, I've never ever seen like a woman in an uncomfortable situation, or
Yes.
like everybody in those gyms go in with that respect. They all respect
Mm-hmm.
each other. They don't it's just amazing, and it's
Oh,
the
absolutely.
only place that I've ever seen where everyone helps each other get to a better place.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I
100%.
love that. This one it says, why should coaches be especially knowledgeable about essentially discrimination? So like, why is it important to understand that discrimination like is a thing when it comes to being a coach?
I think it's a topic that should be like a lot more talked about because when you coach, like I said, man, like you're not just dealing with sport, you're dealing with life. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, as far as discrimination goes, like it's super important to make sure that to make sure to keep in mind that we're all one, no
Mhm.
matter race, color, sex, sexual orientation, or whatever the case may be. We're all human beings and we're all one. You know what I'm saying? We're all built differently, but we're still one. So
Yeah,
yeah, the discrimination goes. It's very important to not discriminate because you know no one wants to feel like that, or I can't even imagine like people just being in that type of situation. I
yeah.
can't. You know.
And it's so weird. Like, I don't know if you feel this way. I'm a white dude. I'm a white dude from a middle class family. Let's get that out of the way. And I've never been discriminated against in my life, but I've always lived in communities where like I was the minority, where I was like the only white dude in every friend group. But then when I moved to like Orange County and I like started like, playing soccer in Orange County or stuff like that, that's where I started to kind of learn about it. So I don't know, is it hard to like see, I guess, that side of things when it's like we're a part of a culture that's because I feel like California is really multicultural. I feel like we embrace that. Like, is it
Yeah,
kind of
it
hard to
is.
see that when we're so used to having a society where we live, where it's like being multicultural is a part of being in that culture, if that makes sense?
Yeah, like even if it's multicultural, or any culture in general, I mean, it's like very important
Yeah.
to just be like just one. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And that goes to us being humans. Like we're all the same at the end of the day. Like
Yeah.
we're no better than anybody. If that makes sense.
In the great words of High School Musical, we are all in this together.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Yes,
All right, we
indeed.
got a couple more questions left for you. How can coaches proactively minimize liabilities and risks generally? And I think this is an interesting question, especially for combat sports. So, like, how would you go about that? Like, minimalizing risk?
Yeah, so the best way to minimize risk is because for me, I like to train with my students. But if it's like, say, if I like say like there's just an example, a spazzy white belt, I'm
Yeah,
not training at all. You know, so like yeah, if it's just like me one on one, like those private lessons that you saw earlier today, then for sure I'm training. But if it's like
yeah,
two people, I make sure I watch them closely so no one gets hurt. So
exactly.
yeah, it just as far as like to minimize safety, it's just a matter of just being that coach with a eagle eye and just making sure that everyone's being safe.
Yeah,
And yeah, that's free from everything, every big problem in the jiu-jitsu world and in life in general. So from from race, sex, and all the things that are going on in this world.
yeah, and like I feel like it's funny because especially with jujitsu and like being a spazzy white belt myself, with all that stuff. I feel like all it takes is a slap in the wrist, right? Like you do something a little scary, like, oh, I remember saw like during a tournament, like got someone like a knee, like an illegal like knee bar or something. And then that was it. He never did it again. And it was just
Yeah.
like, I think it's just funny because it's like usually at least with combat sports, because the bar is so high.
Oh, absolutely.
1 sec. Sorry. Oh, this is important. Hold on.
No, you're good.
Sorry. Okay. Um, but I feel like the bar is so high when it comes to safety. We know that this is like an intense thing that
Yeah,
like it takes one moment where you might hurt somebody to go, okay, I'll watch out for that next time, especially when it
absolutely.
comes to like sparring and stuff.
Yeah.
You get it. What are some effective and ineffective approaches to discipline? I feel like this is a hard question for you because everyone vibes with you. They all kind of know your energy. They know
Mhm.
like probably what would push your buttons, probably what wouldn't. So that, like I don't
Yeah.
know. I feel like that would be a hard question for you, but the floor is yours.
Actually, that's as instilling discipline or in all my no matter what age group, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like as far as like I'm gonna start with kids first. As far as like instilling discipline in them, it's very important to like very important to like let them know what they did right and they know what they did wrong and let them know why you're being punished. But of course, being passive aggressive and trying to be like a and always like problem solving to get in order to get them better. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because for me, I'm gonna be totally honest with you. I used to yell at kids.
Yeah.
Well, I still do, but in a passive aggressive way.
Yeah.
So I think that falls into like like my how my coaching changed. It's because with kids I had to put myself in those shoes and remember it's not about me, it's about them.
Yeah.
And that goes the same with the adults. Instilling discipline in adults and like if they do something wrong with a technique or whatever, I address it right away. But
Yeah.
like I just tell them, hey, like try to avoid doing this, try to avoid doing that, and try to do this, try to do that. Same thing as problem solving. You know, a lot of problem solving, how to make things better and things
Yeah.
like that.
I dig that. I dig that.
Cool.
What considerations need to be made in regards of compliance? So I guess like how can you get people to follow along, do their thing while still learning and junk? I know it was worded kind of weird, but I try to simplify it.
Yeah. No, that's actually pretty good.
This next question you're gonna love, by the way, after this one. So
All
continue.
right,
Sorry.
all right, cool, for sure. So the best way, can you? I'm so sorry. Can you answer that question again,
Yeah.
please?
What considerations need to be made in regards to compliance?
Like, how do I make them follow me?
Yeah, yeah,
Ooh. So how do I make them follow is hmm. I well, first things first, I try to see what they do as far as like could be like correcting a technique or how they behave in class. Like I said, it's all about me leading by example. If I'm outgoing, they're outgoing. If they want to, be a little more strict, then I'll be more strict. And if they're not in line, I make sure they're in line right away by telling them what they're doing wrong and how can they improve in order for them to get better.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, awesome. That's a great way to put it. And the thing is I remember it's like you kind of answered it before. Lead by example. And I think the best way to put it too is like look at your Instagram. You've kicked ass tons of times. I would love to learn jujitsu from you. Leading by example is a big part of it. So, you're easily doing that. Here's the fun one. This is the final question, by the way. Again, thank you so much for giving me your time to
My
interview
pleasure.
you. I always
My
appreciate
pleasure.
it.
My pleasure, brother.
How can social media be a problem and opportunity for coaches
How can it be a problem for coaches?
and opportunity? Like, how can social media maybe mess with someone training in jiu-jitsu, and how can it benefit them?
Well, I think that social media is important to advertise your jiu-jitsu because me, like I said, I'm a competitor and I'm an instructor as well.
Yeah.
So I use that as a positive thing for me in order for me to, put my name more out there. But, you know, if you're going to do it in a negative way, I will never do anything to, because, like I said, I'm a coach. I'm an example. I make sure I'm acting right, not just on, but also off the mats. What does that mean? I'm making sure that I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't do drugs. Like I make sure that they see me, they're like, that's my coach. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I mean, um I don't judge anyone. If you smoke, you drink, you do drugs, hey, that's on you. But
Yeah.
I'm a coach. I lead by example. I make sure that I check myself in order to help them. Because if you're gonna coach, man, how you have to help yourself before you help others.
Yeah.
It can't be you're helping others while you're helping yourself at the same time.
Yeah.
It
Exactly.
doesn't it doesn't balance. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
with that said, like it's just being that person, that same person as I am on the mats, but at the same time being that person off the mats. You know what I'm saying? That's why I made a promise to myself. I'm not gonna party well responsibly. I'm not gonna party responsibly until I get my black belt, until I get my college degree.
Perfect. Yeah, and that's the best way, that's the best way to look at it. And I think too, like something I want to comment on, it's like something that I've heard a bunch is you're not going to learn how to do a flying arm bar. If you see a flying arm bar on YouTube, you're not going to learn how to do that first. You're going to learn the technique.
No.
And I think that that's how like social media negatively impacted me when I was first learning is I would see like these like Brian Ortega's flying arm bars and stuff and I'd be like I'm going to do that. I'm going to go to the gym tomorrow and do that. And then I do it and there's
Yeah.
500 different things wrong other than that I'm doing and not focusing on. But then I would
Right.
say like you know the detail, the small
Hmm.
detail of this stuff, and then you would come in and teach. Okay, well, here's how to do a normal arm bar. Here's how to transition into it. So it's
Yes.
like there's so much like the thing about this question that is tough for me is there's so much context to it because there's
Mhm.
the positivity of your social media showing what you do as a coach, but then also other ones like where did like it's your these kids a lot of the time people learning are such sponges so it's
Yes.
like if they see stuff from other like for example in my opinion Conor McGregor is horrible for social media. He's negative. He's just a brash person, but he kicks. He's a monster martial artist. So it's like a lot
Absolutely.
of these kids will see it and be like, I need to be brash. I need to learn how to fight to be a bully, not to teach others and to protect others. Whereas the right way to do it, obviously, oh my bad, is to teach others and protect others. Sorry, my camera turned off.
No, you're good.
But James, Coach said, as always, it's awesome talking to you. We're gonna have to do one, a full time issues episode too, man, pretty
Yes,
soon.
sir. We
But
are.
I but I really appreciate it. I hope everyone at the University of Arizona seeing this video and seeing this interview
Absolutely.
will learn a
Yes.
lot from it and hopefully try out jujitsu. It's an amazing sport.
It's to honestly, it's the best decision I've ever made. Before that, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I'm not proud to say it. I'm not proud to admit it. I was addicted to drugs. I fell into depression,
Yeah.
and before I knew it, I was self-destructing myself. Before I came to the realization, and without jujitsu, I would not be. I would not be where I am if it wasn't for jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
I would honestly say that jiu-jitsu did save my life, and it worked for me for the last 12 years. It's still working now, and it'll definitely help anyone
Yeah.
in the future for sure.
And again, leading by example, showing you've been there, you've been in the trenches, and I mean,
Absolutely.
like everyone, like one of my best friends has said that one of my favorite things about jujitsu is it's the cheat code to unlocking your best self,
Exactly.
you know,
Exactly.
and that's what I love. I mean, I was 215 pounds when I started doing jujitsu, and because of jujitsu, at one point I was 160 because I was
Yeah.
just training and training and training and eating right and learning how to eat and
Sure.
getting obsessed with it. So
Absolutely.
it's just the best. But, again,
Absolutely the
Coach
best.
Ned, thank you so much for coming on. I always appreciate you.
Thank
And
you,
then for
sir.
everyone listening at the University of Arizona, enjoy. Give me an A+ on this assignment.
Bear down.
That's
Ah,
right.
right?
All right. Yeah, that's right. Wait. Oh, yeah. Is that no? We're Cougars, aren't we? Oh, Jesus. I hold on.
I think you're Wildcats.
We're Wildcats. Oh, we're Wildcats.
Bear
Oh,
down.
that's right. Hell yeah.
Good
uh